Hi, welcome to Granville Academy ACT Boot Camp. This session is being recorded so that you can watch it before the ACT. We are so excited to share what we've learned about the ACT and how to support you to do well on it. So let's go ahead and I will share my screen so that everyone can see present now. All right, so I'm going to share my screen so that you can see what's going on and what I'm reviewing. So this is being recorded so that you can review this at your own leisure. So let's start with welcome. I am Mary Warehime, and I am the Dean of Instruction for Granville Academy. I am happy that you have decided to join us today. We will start with introduction. So if anyone is in the class, you can certainly introduce yourself. If not, we will continue. So, an overview of the ACT. So as you can see, the ACT consists of 4 multiple choice tests: English, math, reading, and science, with an optional writing test. So in our case, we will not have an optional writing test. It is required. And we will review how many minutes you get per section. So in English, you get 75 questions for 45 minutes. So these are majority grammar questions. I recommend IXL. Go to IXL 11th grade and practice commas, semicolons, periods, capitalization, punctuation. So that's a very quick time period to go through all those grammar errors. So it's important that you've practiced beforehand. You can also practice on method test prep, which is under the Clever section of the Granville County Schools webpage. So if you're an 11th grader, you have access to practice materials. So the English piece, then you have math, you have 60 questions for 60 minutes. Reading, you have 40 questions for 35 minutes. Science, 40 questions for 35 minutes. And then the writing, we have asked for everyone to do the writing section. So you will have 40 minutes to write an essay. Let's go into a little bit more detail so that you can look at the pieces. And this will be provided for you. We'll make sure to put this PowerPoint up so that you can look at preparing for the ACT. So get familiar with the content of the test, update your knowledge and skills, and then study content areas you're not familiar with. Make sure you pace yourself, you read the directions carefully, read each question carefully, answer the easy questions first, and use logic on more difficult questions. So that's the process of elimination piece. We should definitely be utilizing that. Notice it says answer every question. This is not like the old SAT. The ACT, you answer every question. It's like a teacher-made test. It doesn't hurt for you to guess. So it's ideal for you. If you have 5 minutes left on the test, make sure that you have something in every bubble. Review your work. Be precise in marking responses and erase completely. At check-in, please bring a photo ID. If I already know you and recognize you, you're good to go. But otherwise, it's good to have an ID so that we can mark you off as having an ID to take the ACT. Your paper ticket is necessary, so I will provide those for you. Bring sharpened number 2 pencils and watch to pace yourself. Make sure that you're taking your time, but also recognize you have to make sure that you get through the test because this is a timed test. And a permitted calculator may be used. As we go through here, it talks about some prohibited test behaviors. You're not allowed to have an electronic device such as a cell phone, smartwatch, fitness band during the testing or during break. You may not fill or alter any multiple choice questions after time has been called. That's a really big deal. So once time has been called, put your pencil down. You may not give or receive assistance by any means. This includes looking at another person's test. You may not allow an alarm or personal item to sound. Not allowed to use highlighter pens, colored pencils, notes, dictionaries, unapproved scratch paper, or other materials. In that case, just ask your testing administrator what's allowed, what's not allowed. You may not disclose test questions or answers in any way at any time through social media, or so you do not want to post anything that you read or learned on the ACT because that test is a secure material. Eating, drinking, or use of tobacco or reading materials are not permitted in the test room, and your test center may also have additional procedures. So our test center is at Mary Potter, and you will take the test on February 25th at 8 a.m. So let's go back to our presentation. Okie dokie. So we've talked about an overview of the ACT, some behaviors that are not allowed. There are also some simple questions here. If you go to act.org, you can actually go through sample questions similar to those that will be on the test. And it has passages and is a great way to review. So you'll see there's an English section, and there's also science, mathematics, and sample writing. So this is a great way to review, and that link will be included. Next, you have method test prep, and this is a great way for you to practice for the ACT and SAT. Remember, though, the ACT is February 25th, so I would suggest really focusing on ACT prep these last few weeks to have it fresh on your mind. So this is what the application looks like when you log on to Clever. I will show you quickly how to get to Clever. So in case you haven't been there, when you go to Granville County Schools, you will click the Clever button. And once there you go. So this Clever login is where you're going to log in order to get access to method test prep. So log in with Google, use your school email address, and you will have the method test prep application. Okay, and the last thing I wanted to make sure that we talked about is the writing section. So Granville County Schools has paid for the writing section. North Carolina has paid for the writing section. So you have 40 minutes to write an essay. And it's very important that you plan what you're going to write, just like you did when you were in third grade, right? So you have a graphic organizer of some sort that you organized your thoughts. Then you explain and illustrate your ideas. You discuss the significance of your ideas. And review your essay. Make sure it's clear. You can edit, but make sure that you don't edit in a way that you can no longer see what's on the essay. And this is very important. I would suggest at least 2 times, once this week, once next week, to make sure you practice writing an essay with a practice ACT prompt at least once per week before the test. And have someone look at it and grade it. If you'd like to send it to me, and I'll look at it and give it a score that or any English teacher you have, will you score this as if you were an ACT reviewer? So I'll give you a sample prompt here of what the ACT has pulled as a sample prompt. So it says, toys are for children, right? Not anymore. In recent years, things that used to be considered kid stuff have grown in popularity among grown-ups. Nowadays, adults regularly play video games, watch animated movies and television shows, purchase dolls and other collectible figures, and read comic books for their own enjoyment. Is adult enjoyment of children's entertainment merely a sign of immaturity? In what ways can playing with kid stuff change the ways adults understand today's youth? Given that toys, games, and publications that are used to be exclusively for children, are growing in popularity among adults, it is worth considering the effects and implications of this trend. So then you have 3 perspectives. So you get the opinions, basically, of that prompt. So what's the answer in their mind? So one person says it's good for adults. They'll understand the lives of children better and be more responsive to their needs. Perspective 2 says adults need to be models of maturity and responsibility. When they act and think like children, kids have no one to look for guidance. And then perspective 3 says children need their own cultural space, their own books, and their own toys, their own movies, in which to explore their ideas. When adults start to take over that space, kids lose out. So then it gives you an essay task. And remember, this is just an exemplar, but it's nice. You can Google this and Google ACT prompts so that you can practice having 40 minutes to do this. So you set the timer, you read the prompt, write a unified, coherent essay about the trend of adults playing with kid stuff in your essay. Be sure to clearly state your own perspective on the issue and analyze the relationship between your perspective and at least one other perspective. So analyze. What connections can you find between, if my perspective is that it's good for adults to be familiar with kid stuff, then I can talk about the connection I have with perspective 1, or how I have an opposite perspective of perspective 2, and what's similar and what's different. Develop and support your ideas with reasoning and examples. Organize your ideas clearly and logically, and communicate your ideas effectively in standard written English. Your perspective may be in full agreement with any of those given, in partial agreement, or completely different. So that is your essay task. It gives you a little planning piece to help you do a little draft. Strengths and weaknesses of perspectives, your own knowledge, experience, or values. I always like to bring in a quote, any kind of quote, when I write. So it's good to kind of look at quotes before you go into the ACT too, to have a fresh one on your mind. So scoring the test, I want you to see the writing rubric so that you'll be aware of it. The score is 1 to 6. So 1 is there's little or no skill in an argumentative essay, and 6 is that you demonstrate effective skill in writing an argumentative essay. So that's another thing you can look up. And Pinterest has great ideas. So does Google, how to write an argumentative essay. So if you look that up, it will give you some other tips and tricks. You could also use YouTube and put in how to write an excellent argumentative essay. So you want to get tips and ideas so that on the day of the test you feel more confident. But notice you're being graded on ideas and analysis, development and support, organization, and language use. So when you're being graded on these 4 pieces, it's important that you look at this rubric and that you analyze, am I doing this? And I always look at the highest score so that you can see what the ideal is. What are you trying to do? And make sure that you have evidence to support your ideas, regardless of what perspective you may have. You need to have evidence, whether it be your own experiences or quotes or data. Make sure that you have evidence. Okay? And you can see how they calculate your writing score. So this is really good stuff for the day. And now would be the point where we do a Q&A. So I am going to see if we have anyone on our Google meeting. I'm going to stop presenting. And let's see. All right, well, there were 2 people, but now it's just me. So I want to continue to have a Q&A session, but most importantly, February 25th, 8 a.m., you have the ACT, and it's important to be confident, to take a deep breath, and to use your test-taking strategies, which I will just remind you of. I'll read them one more time. So some test-taking strategies that are recommended from the ACT are: read the directions carefully, pace yourself, read each question carefully, answer the easy questions first, use logic on more difficult questions, answer every question. I have to really make sure you understand that. Review your work, be precise in marking your responses, and erase completely. So when we have paper pencil testing for the ACT, so you want to make sure that if you put one thing and change it, that you erase it completely so that it doesn't score the wrong bubble. All right. So what I'm going to do is I am going to stop the recording and answer any Q&A questions people may pop on and off as they see fit. So I look forward to helping you if you have any questions about the ACT. I'm Mary Warehime. I am the Dean of Instruction at Granville Academy, and I am here to help. So my email address and contact information, I will pull that up and make a little slide so that you guys will all have that if you need me. gcs.k12.nc.us. So I will make that bold and share my screen again so that you can use that contact information. If you have any questions about the ACT, I am here to help. And if I don't know it, certainly our guidance counselor or someone else will be able to assist you in whatever you may need. So please reach out if you have any questions. Contact info is here, and then I am here to help. So let me share my screen so you can see this contact information. Let's see, present now. And let's see, here we go. So here's my contact information, warehime@GCS. Show that one more time. So if you would like support with ACT, or if you would like me to look at a practice essay you did in 40 minutes, an argumentative piece, and or finding prompts, ACT prompts are located online. So if you want help on the ACT, definitely go to act.org and get support. Thank you.